was acquired, that's the group that also owns, say, Bethesda, there was no large layoff round, right? So here's what I've been able to gather from a few of my own sources and our experience running the news channel that we do. The big thing first. A while ago, Microsoft's original goal was to grow Game Pass. Not at any cost, but they weren't as sensitive to cost. They just wanted growth. My take on that is that it looked like they were trying to concede some console dominance. To my mind, they were essentially acknowledging just how much in the back foot they are with consoles. I mean, the Nintendo Switch, which is a very old thing now, has been outselling the Series X and S. So it seems like they were realizing how behind they were in consoles, against Sony, but wanted to fight back by having cross-device platform dominance with Xbox. Game Pass, all of that. And per multiple sources, this has changed. On the Game Pass front, deals are harder to get than they had been at the past. I know that completely separately to today's story from multiple indie sources and people that I've talked to. That's just the way that it is. I'm going to say no more, but yeah, that's something that's quite known about in dev circles, that they have been really tightening that coin purse, and they've been doing so for a little while now. As for larger titles and the sort of unit economics of things, well, allegedly, the only game that has exceeded Microsoft's expectations for profitability, revenue growth, that sort of thing, is Minecraft, right? Minecraft has been the winner. And that's not really a surprise. Look at their other titles. You've got Halo, Forza, Ghostwire Tokyo, Starfield, Deathloop, which I suppose they got when they, purchased Bethesda, or ZeniMax, also Redfall. Now, there's a few pretty big games in there, right? But no massive hits. And yes, Starfield will have sold well, but it has that rough reception, 62% in Steam. It will not have done as well as it probably should have, especially if you were projecting a good critical and player reception. Then in addition to that, a lot of their longer term bets just haven't paid off yet. You've got the likes of, say, Hellblade 2, you've got Avowed, probably another Elder Scrolls game, you've got the Fable game. They have big projects, but they're on the horizon, and that's probably meant their financials are not as good as they want them to be. And then, of course, the whole Game Pass thing. Their entire our first-party games are on Game Pass. That whole vibe was there to try to outcompete Sony on value. But the problem is that now Game Pass is actually stagnant. By January 2022, it was at 25 million subs. Now, merger-related court documents put that at 29 million by October 2022, and then that was put at over 30 million by senior marketing director's LinkedIn, but then that was pulled. And this happened just last September, and when it was pulled, Microsoft said that the official number is 25 million. IGN, though, spoke to an analyst who put it at 33.3 million by the end of 2023, and then just a little while ago, a very experienced analyst in the scene, Matt Piscatella, claimed the growth had flattened. I mean, if you're pushing like 30 million in 2022 and you haven't grown that much, in 2023, well, that's going to look kind of rough. You've got Piscatella, who definitely is in the know, saying that it's flattened. So this public research does align with what I have been hearing from sources and that sort of thing. And what I've directly heard is that it is all from here on out about safe bets. So that is the sort of thing, in my view, that explains why Overwatch 2 PvE is probably being cost controlled to oblivion and why the unannounced survival game was killed. So, cost-insensitive Game Pass growth is out, tighter unit economics are in. As an example, even just looking at Microsoft's financials, they've increased their operating income consistently. They've grown their net profit margin from 31 to 39%. Over the last year, that's not taking into account last night's earnings call. The point there is, though, they've been trying to optimize their stuff. And they're obviously going through a lot of AI-driven growth right now. So yeah, cost-insensitive Game Pass growth is out the window, tighter unit economics are in. When a large company tries to trim down, as an example in 2023, I believe they had 10,000 layoffs, that can only be done in so accurate of a way. No, that's not the biggest IP in the world, but maybe this newer, only focusing on the safe bets Microsoft wouldn't greenlit those sorts of things. That's just speculation. Overall, though, World of Warcraft is near the definition of a safe bet. As a platform for earning money, they release a store mount, they just get to print. The subscriber base for WoW is actually very healthy. The retention for World of Warcraft is very healthy right now. And this is where it comes down to it being software as a service, well, games as a service. But as an example, if you're running a software as a service business, some of your most important metrics, they're going to be things like churn. And compared to times in the past, Like probably from BFA onwards, WoW's churn rate seems to be at a historic low. And that means like this is doing well, let's get more eyeballs on it and scale it up because it's the safe bet. So to understand this, look, sometimes layoffs are an unavoidable thing. Maybe a company is losing money and it needs to do layoffs or else it will go under. A last resort. But when you're dealing with a very large corporation like Microsoft, layoffs are not the last resort. They're almost similar to a weightlifter bulking and cutting. They're so large, I mean 22,000 staff in the games division. How do you eliminate just shy of 2,000 positions there, like, just shy of 10%? How do you do that? Well, I'd say you either do it right, which will take time, or you do it quick. In this case, they did it quick. I know from many sources that managers did not know about this. Sometimes those managers also were booted. This was a surprise. Managers and teams had no input at all. They were given lists of who stays and who goes. A lot of chaos happened there. Now, this is quite rough. This means that the layoffs were, you could say, not optimized. They'll do more damage if they're done bluntly. Like, if a shitty thing's going to happen, we'd probably rather it's done with a scalpel, so the minimum damage to the patient, the team, is done. But in this case, it was more layoffs by, fire some buckshot and I suppose whatever cells of the spreadsheet it lands on, those people go. But also, it creates a culture of fear on the team. That there is this sword just hanging over them. A lack of trust. And most importantly, a lack of control over one's destiny. And that's a really, really core thing. And if you're burnt out at work, like, there's one of the main reasons why. Like, the current science basically says, burnout is actually not as often about how hard a task is, or sometimes even how much work there is, though that can certainly play into it. It is, in large part, someone's sense of control. So if you have a bunch of work, but you have a strong sense of control over what's going on, you'll probably be able to grit your teeth and get it done, right? That's where you'll shine. But when you have all those sort of rough factors and you don't feel a sense of control, that's when people get hopeless. That's when actual burnout happens, the sort of burnout that can take 6 months to recover and it can seriously hurt people. So that's basically the situation here. My overall view, the WoW team has taken damage. It has not taken as much damage as other teams. World of Warcraft is a safe bet as compared to some other projects. That means that it will likely benefit from, I would say, preferential focus. I say that just because it's probably not going to be getting stacks of money, because that's not what Microsoft are doing. But if they're downsizing some things and they're putting a focus on what works, then that probably just further increases the importance of World of Warcraft. Okay, that's the situation. Obviously, look, on a personal level, this stuff goddamn sucks. People I know have been impacted by this. EU community just seems to be gone, from what I could tell, going around Twitter, which, is literally annoying, but I think far more importantly, is actually really, really sad. Those people, have helped us, have taken care of us, helped organize flights to BlizzCon, they've been great, and they know what's up. So it is just so sad this whole situation goddamn sucks. Now I hope that anyway this video has helped you understand what is going on and why. Okay, that's it for today's video. More to follow. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.
Only death